Hey everyone, Shade here with my updated version of my two-weapon fighting strictly melee ranger rogue build. I didn't want to go hand crossbow because there are 100 of those online already, so if you want to find them you can take a look. A lot of people have done it because it's pretty strong, and I wanted to see how good melee could be, especially with the combo of Orin's weapons that you get in Act 3. I wanted to see if it could actually make a strong character, and it actually is pretty good. We'll get into it in just a second. I just want to apologize for not having a video in quite a while. I got busy at work and then I got sick for a little bit and I couldn't talk, which is essential to these things. I could just move my mouse around, but I just want to say I'm sorry. And also that I will be playing Phantom Liberty when it comes out on my channel on Twitch. You can visit me at twitch.tv/shade. Just go check it out. I might do a preamble of 2.0 skill trees, but I will be transitioning to that for a little bit and then maybe come back to here. It depends. But without further ado, let's jump into the build. You want to start with Ranger. This unlocks favorite enemies. I take Ranger Knight for the heavy armor proficiency. The history skill proficiency is good, but the heavy armor is great. Not only can you wear heavy armor in your chest slot, but you can also wear it on your head, gloves, and boots. There are some pretty decent options out there. Bounty Hunter is another good one with proficiency and investigation, and you also incur disadvantage whenever you use your ensnaring strike spell. The other ones are okay too, but those are the two I would choose. As far as natural explorer goes, I chose the background street urchin, so I already have sleight of hand. But if you want to get sleight of hand, you can go urban tracker. This gives you proficiency in sleight of hand. I went for wasteland wanderer fire. This gives me resistance. The other two give you resistance and cold and poison respectively, and then beast tamer gives you find familiar. I'm going 17 in strength. This is banking on the fact that I'll get a piece of Ethel's hair to go to 18, and then I can use 2 points to go up to 20 in there. And then 16 into wisdom and 14 into constitution. And skills that I use, sleight of hand and stealth from street urchin, history from my favorite enemy, and then I choose insight, perception, survival for my skills, and you get intimidation because I am a half orc. I am banking on the fact that they get savage attacks, which allows me to roll my weapon damage a third time on any critical hit, and this also affects other critical hits, so not just weapon critical hits, but sneak attacks and other things. You get you'll notice savage attack pops up quite often. At second level and on up to fifth, we're just going to go all ranger just to get up to second attack. So at second level of ranger, you unlock spell casting. I take Hunter's Mark, which allows me to do an extra d6 of damage. And then the other one is up to you. I chose Longstrider just because it's a really great buff for your entire team. Doesn't expend spell slots, so you have enough that you can cast Hunter's Mark, but it adds 3 meters of movement to every single team member. It's a really great spell to use. And you also get to choose your fighting style. At the beginning, I would choose 2-weapon fighting until you get Crimson Mischief from Orin. Then you can spec out of it and go into defense. I have that, so I'm going to choose defense. But at the beginning, at level 2, up until whenever you beat Orin, you're going to want to go with 2-weapon fighting because it adds your ability modifier to your offhand attacks. Whereas Crimson Mischief, if you hold it in your offhand, gives you that for free. At third level ranger, we get another spell. You can choose whatever you want for flavor, and Ensnaring Strike is pretty good. Fog Cloud has some uses. Animal Friendship or Speak with Animals is good if you want to talk to animals. Jump is really good too. I'm going to take Jump, and then you also get to choose your subclass. I'm going Hunter with this because after your initial attack against an enemy, you do 1d8 damage every round extra on whatever attack hits first if they're not at their maximum hit points. So this is up all the time. I really like it. And that is through Colossus Slayer. As it says, once per turn, your weapon attack deals an extra 1d8 damage if the target is below its hit point maximum. Okay, at 4th level, we just get to replace a spell if you want to, but we also get to choose a feat. I choose Savage Attacker. This is different from Half-Orc Savage Attacks. Half-Orc Savage Attacks adds an extra weapon die to critical hits. This makes us roll damage twice, and we take the highest number. When we do damage, we want to do as much damage as possible because we don't get as many attacks as monks, and to kind of keep our damage up, we want to try to give us the best chance of doing the most damage possible. So this is an easy take. At 5th level, we take our last level of Ranger. This gives us an extra attack, so now we can make 2 attacks with every action. We also get 2nd level spells. You can choose whatever you want. I chose Pass Without Trace that I've actually used a couple times. This just gives your team 10 more points into your stealth checks. This does take concentration, so just be wary you can't have that in Hunter's Markup at the same time. But it works situationally. Silence works pretty good. Spike Growth is good too. If you don't have a druid, it's really good because you kind of force the enemies to come to you and take damage as they're walking through that. But really, take whatever you want. At 6th level, we take our first level of Rogue, and we're going to go Rogue until level 12. This gives us sneak attacks. We also get to choose 2 skills that we want to have expertise in, which gives us an extra +2. I choose Sleight of Hand because this is my skill monkey, my lock picker. And then I also choose Perception because I just want to be able to see traps easier. And then we also get another skill that we can put in. You can choose Investigation, Acrobats, whatever you feel like you need. This is not my face character, so I wouldn't choose any of the charisma skills. Obviously, my charisma is 8. But choose whichever one you want. I'll just take acrobatics because it does help resist being shoved, and Larian has the AI shove quite often, so this actually helps out quite a bit. At level 7, we take our 2nd level of Rogue. This unlocks Cunning Actions where we can use our bonus action to hide, dash, or disengage. It's great because usually it's a full action, but now we can use our bonus action to do that if you need to get out or hide or something. At level 8, we get our 3rd level of Rogue, and this is where we choose our subclass, and of course we're going Thief. We're doing it for the extra bonus action that's just super, super strong. It works really well with this build, especially once you start, you get orange daggers because they do give vulnerability, so you just start doing a ton of damage. We also take less damage when we fall with 2nd story work. Level 9, we get our 4th level of Rogue, which unlocks our next feat. And as I said before, we're going to choose Ability Improvement and go up to 19 Dexterity. I have Ethel's Hair, so this would give me 20 Dexterity. At level 10, we get our 5th level of Rogue. This unlocks another die of Sneak Attack, so we should have 3d6 Sneak Attack right now. And then we also get Uncanny Dodge, where if attack hits us, we only take half damage. At level 11, we get Rogue level 6. We get to choose another skill that we want to be have expertise in. Insight's a good one, and then it's whatever you have. So I'm going to choose Acrobatics and Insight. Stealth is good too if you find yourself stealthing a lot, but Acrobatics helps, and the Insight, I just like making those Insight checks. And then finally at level 12, we take our 7th level of Rogue. This gives us a 4th die of Sneak Attack, so we're doing 46 damage with Sneak Attacks. And then we also get Evasion. This, if we succeed a Dexterity saving throw, we take no damage on spellcast against us, and we only take half damage if we fail. It's actually really good because survivability does become an issue sometimes, so this is really good. Next up is Shadowheart. She is my Green Witch. I actually have a full breakdown, so we'll kind of go through this really quick. I'll just show you the order that I chose things in. She starts out as Druid. She gets 2 cantrips. These are both really good, so I would just take those. And then her distribution is 16 Dex, 14 Constitution, 16 Wisdom. You can choose any of the other skills. I just put Strength in so she can carry more, but depending on what you have her doing, you can put it in whatever you want. And her skill proficiencies are Arcana, Religion, Animal Handling, and Insight. At second level, we take another level of Druid. This gives us our subclasses. I went Circle of Spores. This gives me Symbiotic Entity, which allows me to get temporary hit points 4 times my level in Druid. But also I do an additional 1 to 6 necrotic damage with any attack. And then I cast Halo of Spores, which is a reactionary spell that you get with this automatically. That goes off twice. So it's 2d4 instead of 1d4 whenever this is up. It also gives you a cantrip, Bone Chill, which stops healing on live enemies and gives undead targets disadvantage on attack rolls. At level 3, we'll take another level of Druid. We also unlock second level spells. And we get blindness and detect thoughts as always prepared spells. At fourth level, we take another level of Druid. This unlocks a new cantrip. I'll go with guidance because having guidance is always good. Prepared spells, choose whatever you want. And then for feats, I go with Warcaster at this level because Druids especially have a lot of concentration spells. So getting Warcaster and getting advantage on concentration checks is a really, really good thing. The Shock and Grasp as a reaction is just a bit of extra stuff. But getting advantage on concentration with all the concentration spells that Druid gets is the best. So get it. At level 5, I veer off of Druid just for 1 level to get Wizard because this unlocks overall 3rd level spells, and for wizards they get haste, and you can scribe haste with 1 level of wizard. So I do a dip into wizard, and then I'll do a 2nd level of wizard at the end. This just allows me to get haste, and I can start hasting my party members. You also get fireball and some of the other fun wizard goodies. As far as cantrips go, choose whatever you want, whatever flavor you need. It doesn't really matter. There's a ton of spells I'm casting, and I actually tend to use her half-elven flame attack more often than anything else. As far as spells go, I choose a lot of utility spells. You can choose whatever you want, but I go for things like Magic Missile, of course. Just having that as an always hit is good. But I also take Featherfall, Expeditious Retreat, Grease, Sleep, and Hideous Laughter is good. Actually, no, not Hideous Laughter. I'm sorry. Shield is really good. This is a awesome utility spell. Keep it and enjoy it. Level 6, we go back into Druid, and we get 3rd level spells as a Druid now. Plus, we get Animate Dead and Gaseous Form. Call Lightning is probably my favorite level 3 spell from a Druid. It's awesome, and Daylight has some utility outside of I use it for undead because it really affects them. At level 7, we take our 6th level of Druid. As a Circle of Spores Druid, this also unlocks Fungal Infestation. 4 times a day, we can take dead bodies and turn them into zombies to fight for us. They're great fodder. They do hit pretty hard, and I think there's a couple items in game that'll enhance them. I don't use them, but like the Abyssal Beckoners, I think you find in the Zent hideout in Act 1. But it also has crazy downsides. But there are some items that can enhance these undead if you want to use them. At level 8, we get our 7th level of Druid. This unlocks 4th level spells. We get Blight and Confusion as always prepared spells. Those are really good. Ice Storm is great. I use that a lot. Wall of Fire is good. And as a CC spell, Polymorph is really good as well. Level 9, we take Druid level 8. This unlocks another feat. And I take Ability Improvement Wisdom. Get up to 18 Wisdom here just to help with overall spell DC. At level 10, we take our 9th level of Druid. This unlocks 5th level spells. The standout ones are Insect Plague. I use this all the time. It's a great spell to just sit there and just also impede enemy movement. We also get Cloud Kill and Contagion as always prepared. Cloud Kill is good. You just have to be careful who you use it against because there are a few enemies that are immune to poison damage, so just be aware that sometimes it doesn't hit, and it'll hit your party too. So just have to be careful. All of these spells will hit your party too. So just be careful. At level 11, we take our last level of Druid. This unlocks the subclass feature of Spreading Spores. Basically, you can create an area of effect of spores, and any enemy that enters it or is in it when you cast it takes your halo of spores damage, and that damage is now a d8. So they take 2d8 damage when you have your symbiotic entity up. It's really good, and you can do it with a bonus action, and you can do it every round. So it doesn't cost anything. You can just continuously put it down wherever you want, so you can kind of follow the enemies around if you want to. We also get another cantrip. Take whichever one you want. And for our final level, we will take a second level into Wizard to just unlock the subclass. There's some really good subclasses here. You can choose Divination to get the Portent dice. After each long rest, you get 2 of these, and you can basically use it as a reaction to change the die of any attack or saving throw of anything rolled near you. That's a pretty powerful one. Transmutation allows you with a DC 15 to do 2 alchemical solutions instead of 1 when you combine extracts, which can be powerful. We have a lot of necromancy things, so once per turn, if you kill a creature with a spell, you gain hit points equal to twice the spell slot used. We have a ton of necromancy. That's what Circle of Spores is kind of based around. So any of our necrotic spells, we can be affected by that. But I choose Evocation just because I do throw out a lot of Evocation spells, and having this, you just basically can throw it with your companions out there and not have to worry. So I do choose this for sculpt spells. Next up is Lae'zel. She is a Warlock Paladin, and we're going to start off with Warlock, and we're going to go the first 5 levels into Warlock and then the rest into Paladin. With Warlock, you get 2 cantrips. Always take Eldritch Blast as a Warlock, and then I choose Friends because Lae'zel is the face of this group. So having Friends allows me to get advantage on some rolls. I choose the Fiend subclass for the extra points, and then some of the extra spells are really good too. As far as spells go, I choose Hex. I use that quite often in the beginning, and then it falls off later because I'm become more of Paladin, and I use those spell slots for smites. But Hex is great in the early game, and then choose whatever other ones flavor, like Hellish Rebuke is good. Arms of Hadar is good early. It just depends on what you want. As far as abilities go, I do 16 Dex, 14 Constitution, and 16 Charisma, and then spread everything else where I want it. Since she's got Arcana history, I choose some Intelligence, and then Wisdom, I just level it off so I'm not getting a negative on my Wisdom saves because there are quite a few. But choose what you want there. At level 2, we take our second level of Warlock. This gives us another spell. I'll choose Hellish Rebuke, and then we get 2 Eldritch Invocations. She is a Githyanki, so I do choose Devil's Sight first, and then Agonizing Blast. Agonizing Blast adds my Charisma bonus to my Eldritch Blast damage, so it turns that into a great spell. But I use Devil's Sight because it gives her Dark Vision to 24 meters, and then I can also see in Magical Darkness, which is a big plus, but she doesn't have it naturally. She's one of the only races that don't get it naturally, so getting Devil's Sight is good. Level 3, we take our third level of Warlock. This unlocks level 2 spells. You can choose what you want. I like Scorching Ray is really good. Cloud of Daggers is a great AoE spell. Even Hold Person is a good CC spell. Misty Step is really good. I usually choose that just because I'm able to traverse across the battlefield, and with the Pact Boon it works really well. The Pact Boon that we're choosing is Pact Blade. Obviously this unlocks Bind Pact weapon, so any weapon she's holding, if you cast this at the beginning of the day right after a long rest, you become proficient in that weapon. And then it also takes your Charisma bonus and adds that to the attack and damage of that weapon. It's really strong. They're a really great front row liner with that. Level 4, we take our 4th level in Warlock. We get another cantrip. You can choose whatever you want. I always choose Bone Chill just because it feels Warlocky. We also get another spell here. I'm going to choose Scorching Ray because at this level we're still casting spells, so having that extra damage is really good. And then we also get our feet. Now you can go a couple different ways for this. I actually go ability improvement, charisma, because putting points in this increases our attack and damage because of our pact boon. It also increases our damage from agonizing blast. And I'm not concentrating on spells too often, so I'm probably not going to go Warcaster with this. I'm going to pump as much charisma as possible to get it up to 20. At 5th level, we take our last level of Warlock. This unlocks Deepened Pact. With Pact of the Blade, we get an extra attack with our Pact weapon. This puts us at two attacks per action, which is on par with most melee classes. We also get 3rd level spells. I choose Hunger of Hadar. This is a great AoE spell that creates difficult terrain, blinds enemies that are in it, and also deals cold and acid damage. It's really, really good. And then as far as Eldritch Invocations go, I choose Repelling Blast because having that push mechanic is good. A lot of people do choose Repelling Blast early and then Devil Sight or something else later. But as I said, because she's Githyanki, I chose Devil Sight first, and now I'm getting Repelling Blast. You can turn it on and off through your passives menu at the bottom of the screen. At 6th level, we start dipping into Paladin. At level 1, you do choose your subclass. I'm going Oath of Vengeance. This gives me Inquisitor's Might, so for 1 channel Oath charge, I can add 4 radiant damage and can daze enemies for 2 turns. Either myself or an ally, I can cast it. And then we just have the tenants. I disregard those. I'm not sure if companions can fall off the wagon and become Oathbringers. I don't know. I've just been doing my thing, but Oath of Vengeance is the best for this, in my opinion. At level 7, we unlock our 2nd level of Paladin. This opens up Divine Smites, which is the biggest reason we have this. Divine Smite, you take your spell slots, and if you hit with a weapon attack, you can choose to cast Divine Smite with one of those spell slots. Your Warlock spell slots also work with this, so I use those early because those recharge on a short rest. So you always can have at least some smites available after short rest, even if you blow through all of your other spells. You also unlock some spells. I really don't choose anything. I mainly spend my spell slots on Divine Smite because it does so much damage. It's so strong. But just know that you can have some stuff like Thunderous Smite, especially if you're going up against, say, like devils or the Sharites that you fight that have like they do extra damage if you do radiant damage against them. This will give you other options when you go into those fights. So I do choose Thunderous Smite as a spell option for when I'm going up against those enemies. As far as fighting style goes, I choose Great Weapon Fighting. I'm using a 2-handed weapon. It works really well. When you roll 1 or 2 on damage die for an attack, you get to reroll it again, and you keep that result. At level 8, I take my 3rd level of Paladin. This unlocks Divine Health, where we prevent disease from affecting us. We also get some actions that I've never honestly ever used, but you can gain it. You use your Channel Oath charges, and you can gain advantage on attack rolls if you want to, if you're finding you're missing a lot. But later on down the line, when I have such high charisma, I don't tend to miss too often, so I don't really use it. And you also get some Oath spells as well, Hunter's Mark and Bane. Hunter's Mark, doing an extra d6 of damage is always good. But like I said, I use most of my spell charges on smites. At level 9, we get our 4th level of Paladin. This unlocks Lay on Hands, another Lay on Hands charge. I didn't talk about Lay on Hands before, but you can heal yourself or a party member with each charge. It's pretty good to kind of top off if you need to. If somebody's taking a beating, especially in Tactician mode, you can use this just to help out your healer a little bit. We also get another feat. I'm going to take another ability improvement and raise Charisma to 20. This gives us a +5 attack and damage with our weapon. At level 10, we take our 5th level of Paladin. We get extra attack, and this stacks with the extra attack that your Deepened Pact gives you. So now you have 3 attacks per action, which is great. You also unlock level 2 spells. For O spells, we do get Misty Step. So if you want to spec out of that in your Warlock and just use this one, you can just use this one. Like I said, it's great for just traversing around the battlefield. But there you go. At level 11, we take our 6th level of Paladin. This unlocks our Aura of Protection, which when you cast it, anything within 3 meters, any ally within 3 meters of you gets your Charisma bonus to saving throws. It's really great for any melees that are with you, just to give some extra added protection from spells. Especially when you put Birthright on, you get 22 Charisma. That's a +6 to saving throws for yourself and anybody within 3 meters of you. Then at 12th level, we take our 7th level of Paladin. This gives us another spell. And we also get Relentless Avenger. If I hit an enemy with an opportunity attack, my movement speed increases by 4.5 meters on my next turn, which is good for just mobility, getting around there. If you're, need to run around, it's always good. And now we have Karlach, who is a pure sorcerer. Take sorcerer all the way up to level 12. We start off with 4 cantrips. Choose whichever one you like. I say that all the time. I am going red dragon, so I do choose firebolt. But anything else, choose whatever you want. We get 2 spells to start off with. I choose Chromatic Orb and Magic Missile. These are great early level spells. Magic Missile always hits, and then Chromatic Orb you can choose between a variety of different elemental effects. And I said we are going Draconic for the extra AC. So 13 AC plus there, you get an extra bonus hit point each level. Our Dragon Ancestor is red, so we unlock Burning Hands as a spell that we know. And later on down the line, this unlocks extra goodies for all our fire spells. As far as abilities go, I have a 16 Charisma, 16 Dex, 14 Constitution, then the rest is whatever you want. You have 4 extra points to kind of put where you want. I just do Intelligence and Wisdom, just kind of max those out. And for proficiency, she has Athletics, Arcana, Survival, Persuasion. Of course, Athletics and Survival are because she's an outsider. That's her background, and you can't change her background. At level 2, we take our next level in Sorcerer. This unlocks sorcery points for us. We also get the actions to create sorcery points or create spell slots using sorcery points. So you can either eat a spell to get sorcery points or eat sorcery points to gain a spell slot, depending on what you want. We also get another spell. You can choose anything you want. I'm going with Shield because it's just super useful. As far as class passives go, I choose Distance Spell and Twin Spell. I don't really use Distance Spell too much, but it's good to have in case I'm at the very edge of my range for a spell. I can increase this by 50%, and then Twin Spell, I get to cast a spell that targets a single creature twice. A lot of times I twin Haste onto my 2 melee characters. Works great, but you can also do it with damage spells as well. At level 3, we take another level of Sorcerer. This gives us more sorcery points and unlocks 2nd level spells. Choose whatever you want. Again, I choose Misty Step. This is just a great spell because it takes a bonus action and you can go and you don't get attacks of opportunity when you move. So it's just great for repositioning, great for getting around. I use it all the time on as many characters as I can. And you get another meta magic and choose Quicken Spell all the time. This allows you to cast a 2nd damage spell in the same round as a bonus action. So you can cast 2 fireballs now, one as a regular action and one as a bonus action. 4th level, we take our next level in Sorcerer. This unlocks another cantrip. I'll just choose Friends, but again, you can choose whatever you want. For spells, I am going to choose Scorching Ray. I am a fire sorcerer, so having that is good. You can always replace the spell if you need to. And as far as feats go, we'll be choosing ability improvements, but we're also going to choose Warcaster as well. We do get haste next round or next level, so I'm going to choose Warcaster here, but you can choose ability improvement, charisma if you want here, and then take Warcaster at level 8. It's up to you. I'm just going to do it now because haste is a concentration spell, and me losing that is bad because that takes my 2 meleeers out of a fight for a round because they're lethargic. At level 5, we take our 5th level of Sorcerer. This, like I said, unlocks level 3 spells, and at this one, I'm going to choose Haste. I'm also going to go replace the spell because we don't really need Chromatic Orb anymore, and I'm going to replace that with the tried and true Fireball. At 6th level, we take another level of Sorcerer. This unlocks more sorcery points, more spells, but we get our subclass features. We get elemental affinity damage, so anytime we cast a fire spell, we also add our charisma bonus to the damage, not the damage die, but the overall damage. So say fireball does like 48, we do 48 plus 3 because we have a 16 charisma. We also get elemental affinity resistance, but unfortunately, because she's a tiefling, she already has resistance to fire, so this never is going to go on. Just make sure that the reaction is set so it asks you every time you cast it, so that you're not just losing sorcery points because it just is automatically going. Just an FYI. As for 3rd level spells, I choose counterspell here. This is amazing. You can counter like Raphael and other big time spellcasters when they're casting some of their huge spells and just throw them off their game. So get this as soon as you can after you get haste and fireball. Level 7, we take another level of Sorcerer. This unlocks 4th level spells. The spells here to get are Wall of Fire, Ice Storm. Again, Polymorph is good. Greater Invisibility is good unless you're hasting a lot because it does take concentration. Same with Polymorph. So you kind of have to choose between the two. But as far as damage goes, I like Ice Storm and Wall of Fire. Wall of Fire is concentration, but there are some really good times when this is useful and you don't need haste. You can go Blight, but there are quite a few enemies that take no damage for Blight, so just be aware of that. Really, Ice Storm is really good. It does bludgeoning and cold damage and also creates an icy patch for 2 turns where the enemy can fall prone. So I'm going to choose Wall of Fire just because I'm a Fire Sorcerer, and about this time is Act 2 when I actually really use it. At 8th level, we take another level of Sorcerer. This unlocks another spell for us. I will take Ice Storm, and then we also get another feat, and I'm going to use Ability Improvement Charisma, raise our Charisma to 18. This adds another point of damage onto our fire spells and affects our spell DCs. At level 9, we take our 9th level of Sorcerer. This unlocks 5th level spells. There's some pretty decent ones here. Cone of Cold is good. Cloud Kill is good. Insect Plague, even Hold Monster can be good. So you choose what you want. I like to go with damage spells because that's kind of what this character is built around, to haste and then start doing as much damage as possible, especially AoE. But you can kind of choose what you want. At 10th level, we take another level of Sorcerer. This unlocks another cantrip. Choose whatever you want. Just to make it a team-wide spell, I'm going with Bone Chill. As for spells, I will choose probably Telekinesis or Cloud Kill or even Insect Swarm. You can choose whatever you want. Even Seeming could help too, just for the disguise. I'll choose Seeming. I haven't done that before. We also get another meta magic. You can choose Subtle Spell. Heightened Spell is pretty good because it adds disadvantage to your spell attacks. Careful Spell, your allies automatically succeed. You're casting a lot of AoE spells, so this is a really good one to tack onto it if you want to. But I'm going to go with Subtle Spell. I can cast spells while silenced. At 11th level, we take another level of Sorcerer. This unlocks the Fly movement action. So this costs a movement action. So whenever you move, you can fly instead. It doesn't cost a bonus action or a regular action. It is a movement action. So you can choose to fly instead of moving. And then we also unlock 6th level spells. I choose Disintegrate here. Force damage is great. Disintegrate hits like a truck. It's great, and it can be twinned. So I choose this pretty much every time. I mean, this is one of the big reasons why we wanted to play Sorcerer and play pure Sorcerer. And finally, at 12th level, we take our last level of Sorcerer. This unlocks one more spell. Now, we only can cast one 6th level spell, but I do choose Circle of Death here, just so I have an AoE spell. Like I said, necrotic damage does not work against undead or constructs, but this does do quite a lot of damage to things outside of those. But even sometimes fiends don't take damage from that. You just have to kind of take a look. But it's a great AoE trash clearer if you want to use it. As far as feats go, I take the last ability improvement to get my charisma to 20. This just adds so much good stuff. Okay, let's move into equipment. This is not completely endgame, but it's got a lot of it from various fights that I've had, but let's just go through it. So for the 2-weapon fighter main character, I have Sarevok's Horn Helm. This increases my dark vision to 15 meters, but the big thing is the number I need to roll a crit hit when attacking is reduced by 1, and that effect can stack. So now I crit on a 19 or a 20. Extras here are I can't be frightened, and then Constitution saves are good. I'm wearing Cloak of Displacement, which gives me displacement at the beginning of each turn, and enemies have disadvantage on attack rolls against me until they hit me. I'm wearing the Yuan Ti Scale Mail. So this is a great piece of armor. It's medium armor that I can add my entire dexterity modifier to my armor class. So this character right now with Ethel's hair, and then I did the mirror, I have a 22 dex, so that's a +6. So this armor is AC 15 +6 plus my dexterity, so it gives me 21 AC. It's an amazing piece of armor. You get in Act 2. You buy it from the Last Light Inn. It doesn't impose disadvantage on stealth ability checks, and it also gives me a +1 on initiative roll. With my high dexterity and then this +1, my main character goes first most of the time. This is a great piece of medium armor to get. For my gloves, I'm wearing Helldust gloves purely for the fact that weapon attacks deal an extra 1d6 fire damage. It's just an extra bit of damage that I can add to my attacks, where it would be falling behind to monks. Like open hand monks do just a crazy amount of damage. This brings this damage up. This character can pump out a lot of damage as well, and this kind of helps. So getting any point that we can get extra damage is always good. I'm wearing the Disintegrating Nightwalkers for the Misty Step, but also because I can't slip on grease or ice. I can't be enwebbed, entangled, or ensnared. Right now I'm wearing the Amulet of Baal. I do like the First Blood, where I inflict bleeding on targets that have maximum hit points. Like I said, this character goes first quite often, so getting that bleeding kind of helps, especially against bosses. As a ring, this is the underrated awesome item that I didn't know was amazing. The Risky Ring is hands down one of the best items for this character. Yes, the disadvantage is terrible. You receive disadvantage on saving throws. It's horrible, but I do have a Paladin that stands next to me that gives me +6 to my saving throws, but the disadvantage does hurt because you roll ones quite often. But you gain advantage on attack rolls. What that means is that I have a heightened chance to crit with this build, but I also get sneak attacks when I'm by myself. I can walk up to something and get a sneak attack off every round if I want to on an attack roll because I have advantage. Sneak attack doesn't mean somebody has to be standing. I just have to have advantage on attack rolls. So this basically allows me to sneak attack with nobody around. It's great. I didn't know it was this good until I put it on, and I can't believe I didn't ever think about it. So Risky Ring, I think I got it in Act 2, is an amazing ring to get, especially for a thief character. I'm also wearing the Caustic Band that I got in Act 1. This just gives me a flat 2 acid damage to all my attacks. Like I said, I'm just trying to find sources of damage just to add to my attacks. As far as weapons go, I have Bloodthirst in my main hand because of the exploit weakness. Creatures hit with this weapon receive vulnerability to piercing damage. Every bit of damage I do on this build is piercing. So once I hit them one time, the rest of the round, they get vulnerability, so they're taking twice the damage to my attacks. And so that also includes sneak attacks, that includes Colossus Slayer, that includes savage attacks, that includes everything. So all the damage I'm doing after I hit them in the first round with this, and because I have the Risky Ring, I have a 99% chance to hit most of the time. So the only time I miss is if I roll 2 ones when I have advantage, which doesn't happen many times. But I give vulnerability to piercing damage, which also helps any other character that has piercing damage, like Shadowheart. If she comes into melee with her spear, she can do double damage as well. Improve critical, the number you need to roll critical hit while attacking is reduced by 1. This stacks with Ceravoc's Helm. So now an 18 to 20 is what I need to roll to crit. So I crit quite often. And personally, I set sneak attack to go off when I want it to. So I usually wait until I crit and then I'm doing double the damage. You can one turn a lot of stuff with this character, which I didn't think was possible. For my offhand, I have Crimson Mischief. Like I said, this has the Crimson weapon when you wear it in your offhand, where you add your ability modifier to offhand weapon attacks. So that is the same as the level 2 Ranger class feature. This also has Prey on the Weak, where you deal an additional 1 to 4 piercing damage against targets with 50% of their hit points or fewer, which happens a lot. It also adds a d4 of necrotic damage as part of the weapon itself. And then I have the Jolt Shooter that I got in Act 1. This is actually pretty good because it gives you lightning charges, which allows you to do some lightning damage. And as you get up to 5 lightning charges, the next attack you do does a d8, I believe, or a d6 of lightning damage. It's just extra damage. I do want to get the legendary bow that allows me to haste, but I just haven't gotten to that fight yet. So that is the 2-weapon fighter melee character. This equipment is great. Like I said, I can one turn a lot of things. It's a lot stronger than I thought it was. For Shadowheart, because she is a wizard, I wear the Warp Band of Intellect. This gives her 17 intelligence, and she can cast 5 wizard spells instead of the 1 that you get with an 8 intelligence. She's also wearing the Cloak of Elemental Absorption because I haven't found anything better for her back yet. She's wearing the Adamantine Scale Mail, which basically attackers can't crit her, and she reduces damage. She has to wear medium armor because she's a druid, but this is really good. It's one of the better ones for her, just because I don't want her to be crit. I don't want her to die. She is my healer. I gave her the Gauntlets of Hill Giant Strength because she is attacking with a spear. She doesn't have any, it's not a finesse weapon, it's her Spear of Night. So this just adds to her attack and damage with that weapon. She's wearing the Boots of Striding. Whenever she casts a spell that requires concentration, she gets momentum, so she gets some extra movement. But while you're concentrating, I can't be knocked prone or moved against my will, which is always great. She's a druid, she's always concentrating. She also has the Amulet of Restoration. This has been pretty clutch, especially the Mass Healing Word. It's just a free spell. You cast on your bonus action, can kind of help top up a large area that can hit all your allies that are fighting. So like in the Moonrise Tower fight, you can hit everybody. It really helps. She's wearing the Strange Conduit Ring, so while she's concentrating on a spell, she deals an extra 1d4 psychic damage. This helps. Like I said, she's always concentrating on something, so it just gives her a little extra damage. Then the Ring of Salving. This adds 2 hit points every time I heal another creature. It's always good. Again, she has the Saloon's Spear of Night. This is just gives her advantage on wisdom saving throws and perception checks. It also gives her a free moonbeam if she wants it. She gets dark vision, but she's a half elf. But I just thought it was iconic for her to have her own, legendary weapon, essentially. Then she has Viconia's Walking Fortress because we beat Viconia. This gives her advantage on saving throws against spells, and spell attack rolls against me have disadvantage, which just kind of helps her because she does get targeted quite a bit just because the enemy wants to hit her because she's concentrating on stuff like haste and things. So the enemy is kind of smart. So just having those things helps. And then she's wielding Herald that you get in Act 1 just because I didn't have anything else. She's not even proficient with it, but I don't use it. I just kind of had it on her so she could shoot stuff if I needed to. I usually use her cantrips. Next up is Lae'zel. She's wearing the Birthright as a helm, so she has a 22 charisma now, which is a +6 to attack and damage with her pact weapon. On her back, she wears the Vivacious Cloak. I'm not sure if this works with Divine Smites. To be honest, I haven't really checked. But this just gives 7 temporary hit points after casting a spell in melee. She's always in melee. She's wearing the Helldusk armor, which is heavy armor. She doesn't have proficiency for heavy armor. Even though she is a paladin, you only get proficiency in heavy armor if you take paladin at level 1. If you take it past that, it's just medium armor and shields. But Helldusk gives you proficiency in heavy armor just so you can wear this. It also has Infernal Retribution. When I make a saving throw, the caster of that spell receives burning for 3 turns. And then I have resistance to fire damage, and I cannot be burned, and I take 3% less damage, which is always good. Right now, she's wearing the Gemini gloves, which gives me Adroit Caster. So whenever I cast Eldritch Blast, I can cast it at 2 things. It doesn't happen quite often because she's usually doing stuff in melee, but there has been times when I need to get an extra cast of Agonizing Blast that this has helped. She's wearing the Boots of Speed right now because I haven't found anything better. This just gives her a bonus action dash. She's wearing the Amulet of Greater Health. It was between her, the 2-weapon fighter, and I kind of like the Amulet of Ball on the 2-weapon fighter, so I give this to her. Having just a ton of hit points helps when she's, in the thick of things. It also gives advantage on Constitution saving throws, which are concentration spells. So if I have like Hunger of Hadar up or something, I get advantage on those checks. She's wearing the Ring of Free Action. She ignores the effects of difficult terrain and cannot be paralyzed or restrained, which is important for a melee character. Then she's got the Callous Glow Ring. I used to be illuminating things when I did radiant damage. I'm not doing that anymore, so I need to find another ring for her. But there's an armor that adds radiant orbs if you do radiant damage to an enemy, and this just add 2 more points of damage to her attacks. Right now she's wearing the Soulbreaker Greatsword. I might want to try to get the Sword of Baldur for her, but this was off the try in the Kresh. When wielded by Githyanki, this weapon deals an additional 1d4 psychic damage, and it is her packed weapon, so she's doing... Let's see if I can get it on there. Maybe I haven't put packed weapon on. I haven't put packed weapon on. But she does 2d6 plus 6 damage, and then 1d4 psychic damage, and then it also gives her 2 initiative rolls, even though she seems to roll horrible initiative, but this helps a little bit. Then she also has the Hellfire hand crossbow. I do it as a free Scorching Ray option. And finally, Karlach. Karlach has the Helldusk helmet. This allows me to see in magical and ordinary darkness up to 12 meters, and I can't be blinded. She tends to get blinded a lot. I think they know that she's a caster, so I just put that on her for that reason, and that attackers can't land critical hits on the wearer, which is really good. She's wearing the Cloak of the Weave. She gains a +1 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls, and then she gets absorb elements. She's also wearing the Robe of the Weave, which gives another +1 bonus to spell save and spell attack rolls. I'm trying to get that stuff up as high as possible for her, just so that her spells are hard to resist, especially like Disintegrate and things that we can only cast one time. This is actually a really good... the arcane enchantments are really good to kind of stack, and I think they stack. People can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they stack, so getting as much of that as possible makes this a really strong character. She's still wearing the Bracers of Defense. The 2 AC is really good. I've been playing with some other gloves, but I just tend to fall back on this because I like having the 2 AC, because she usually casts some really big spells. And I just like having 2 AC, so she's not targeted as often. She's wearing the Spider Step boots because I haven't found anything better. This makes me immune to being webbed. She has a Spell Crux amulet, so she can restore a spell slot, which is great for your level 6 spells. You cast a level 6 spell, then you use this as a bonus action, then you cast another level 6 spell. And it works in conjunction with her weapon, which we'll talk about here in a second. She has the Ring of Poison Resistance. Resistance to poison's always good. She also has a Shifting Corpus Ring, so for free invisibility or blur, that's helped a couple times. in my runs. And then she's wearing the Marco Heshkir, which is the legendary staff that you get in under the Sorcerer Sundries. This gives me another +1 bonus to save spell DC and spell attack rolls. We also get Kareska's Favor. She usually runs with the lightning version of this. I like this one a lot because it gives you lightning charges, which adds lightning damage to your attacks. Then you also get free chain lightning and lightning bolt, and that the lightning bolt and the chain lightning are reset every short rest, so you can use those. It's really good. I don't know why I'm doing this. But the big thing here is also the Arcane Battery. This allows me to cast a spell for free, which helps with level 6 spells because it affects those too. So essentially, I can cast a Twinned Disintegrate, cast a free bonus Disintegrate, then I pop up, then I blow Spell Slot Restoration to get a 6th level spell, and then the next round I cast another Disintegrate. You can do a bunch of things with spells with this whole setup. It all really, really works. And that's the party. This party has been a lot stronger than I thought. I'm not even through the game yet, but it can pretty much tackle most things. It's different than the last party I did. This is more of a long rest focused party. The other one was a short rest. So having to learn how to manage my resources has been good. The 2-weapon fighter has been super strong. I'm sure the hand crossbow variant of this is much stronger because of the flat damage that sharpshooter gives. But I wouldn't count this one out either because it does double damage with every hit, even sneak attacks and everything else. So it can pump out some crazy damage. Like I can one turn like 160 plus hit point mobs if I hit all the time, which I tend to do. I do know that some people kind of disparage some of these builds because they're not fully optimized, but I just want to say I played these on Tactician. I've never played anything lower than Tactician. So my whole philosophy is I want to make sure that they work on Tactician, and these builds work for me. They might not work for everybody. There may be more optimized builds, but that's the best thing about like D&D and Baldur's Gate 3 is that any build can theoretically work on the hardest difficulty. If you play it smart and you build it somewhat smartly, you can tend to just, roll through the game, especially once you hit level 12. You can just roll, and it's fun. It's great. I like making these builds. I might come out with some monks before Phantom Liberty drops, but thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing and doing all the YouTube stuff. I appreciate it a lot. I hope you guys join me for Phantom Liberty. I might be in the support a streamer program with CD Projekt Red. I signed up for it, so I'll let people know on the channel if I am. But come watch me on Twitch when I'm doing that. This game has been fun. Cyberpunk is my favorite game of all time right now, so I have a lot of fun with that game. So hopefully you guys will join me. But thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.